So today we're making this really simple, you're gonna see some B-roll here. It's a little Nutella cake that's literally only 2 ingredients, and it takes like 5 minutes to get everything together. Once you've done it a few times, it really doesn't take too long. And there's a few optional ingredients, which we'll talk about as well. Don't need to use them, but if you want a little added flavor, these two are going to bring it up a whole nother level. Now, as for other accessories that you're gonna need, you need a hand mixer of some sort. You could also mix it by hand, but that's gonna suck. This is a 9-speed Yomello hand mixer. We'll go through that as well. You're gonna need 2 bowls, one smaller one larger one, some ramekins of sort, or just something to bake it in, right? As long as it fits and it has some sort of volume. And then just a bigger pan. I use this just to put some water to boost up the humidity a little bit. I just find it makes it a little bit more moist for this specific cake. I hate that word, moist. Oh. I just feel so dirty saying that. Okay, so we're gonna get started. You need some egg whites. This is egg whites from 4 eggs total. So you can use more if you want. Just, it's obviously going to increase the volume. In this case, we're using 4 because I'm just making a few mini ones. We need to preheat our oven. So I'm gonna preheat that to 350. This is gonna bake for roughly 20 minutes. Honestly, I just kind of guess with this whole stuff because I've made it a few times. And let's get into it. So the first thing we want to do is I actually start with my Nutella. So you can use Nutella, right? Name brand, no name, doesn't matter. We're gonna scoop out some. How much? I would say roughly a cup, maybe a little bit under a cup. I just guesstimate, I do a couple, like a spoon and a bit here. And that's usually good. That's probably more than good. Okay, and once you do that, I'm gonna leave this other spoon just there. You're gonna microwave it. Not for long, like 30 seconds, maybe up to a minute, just to loosens up a little bit. I'll show you. All that's, grab your hand mixer. You can see the Yomello 9-speed comes with 6 different accessories, anything, somewhere like that. We just need the normal mixers here, so nothing fancy. Just the 2 normal blades. Okay, we're just gonna take our blades here, pop them in. You just have to be smarter than the mixer. And we're gonna plug it in. Now, luckily this has a super long power cord, so big shout out to Yomello for that. We're gonna plug it in and we're gonna wait just 1 second because I want to check our Nutella. And you can see it's quite a bit more malleable, but not quite where I want it to be. So I'd say another 15 seconds. Now, once that's done, we're just gonna leave it in the microwave. We're gonna want to let it sit there just a little bit so it cools. It can't go into it super hot. Now, take your egg whites, put them into your larger mixing bowl. Now that your egg whites are in your mixing bowl, we're gonna start whipping them. Now start it on low. You can see the Yomello has 9 different speeds to choose from, plus a turbo, and then obviously your start and stop, and that nice little LCD screen too. So let's start, pick it up 1 speed. Now we're just gonna start whipping them. Now this is just aerating them, obviously. We're gonna go for a few minutes and then pick the speed up a little bit more. And we basically wanna turn this into a whipped white foam. So just go for a little bit. Now I just wanted to show you, we're starting to get there. You can turn it up a little bit. I'm gonna put it only at the 3rd speed. You're gonna see how crazy this thing is at 3rd speed. And just keep whipping it. You wanna go till stiff white peaks. Okay, and that looks like that's it. So you can see when we pick it up, right, sticking nice. It also turns into that nice high peak, and we're good to go. I'm just gonna, that went everywhere. That was cool. Okay, now we can just pop these off and we can go rinse them off, and we're gonna start with the next parts. Okay, so take your chocolate that's been resting in the microwave. You can mix it up a little bit, just like that. Now, this is what I like to add in, just to add a little extra flavor, is just some espresso powder. You can use any kind. I just give it a little pinch. This is just gonna add a nice little boost of flavor. Not even really a teaspoon, just like a little, just a little dusting, just like that. That's just gonna add even more flavor to this. It's like a little espresso chocolate cake. There we go. Try a little bit, obviously. Find out it's delicious. Now, I don't think I added quite enough chocolate. If you look at my chocolate to meringue whipped egg there. So I'm gonna add an extra little scoop here, just because I wanna make sure that has really nice chocolate taste. And of course, this will also thicken it up if you microwaved it a little bit too much. So it'll kind of even out the heat. Now take your pan here and just fill it up, maybe like a 1/2 inch with water. So you don't need much. This is just enough so it boils and steams a little bit. Now we're just gonna put these little ramekins back in there. Now we need a little spatula, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and take my spoon out, give it a quick lick, and we're gonna spoon in our chocolate. Once your chocolate's spooned in, you're just gonna go ahead and fold it on top of each other, basically. And you're basically mixing it until it just fully incorporates. You'll know when, because they'll all look the same texture. But we're just trying to keep this light and fluffy. It will collapse a tiny bit, but not enough to make a difference before we start baking it. You can see we're just about there. We got a little bit more that has to incorporate. Now it's looking more like a cake batter, or it's almost more like a slightly melted marshmallow. Now I would say this is pretty, one more there, just to make sure that last little bit of egg whites fully. There we go. Now what you're gonna do is you need a little ladle or something. And one last thing I forgot was, if you can, and if you have butter, again, this is, you don't need it because I did say 2 ingredient, take a little bit of butter and just butter up the bottom of the pan. I'm just using a stick of butter, rubbing it along the sides. Okay, now grab your little spoon here. You can use a wooden one, probably better than plastic, but I'll make it work. And we're just gonna fill it up. Fill it maybe around 3/4, right? You just wanna leave a tiny bit of room at the top there because it is going to, well, it should expand just a tiny bit. So just a tiny bit of room at the top there. You'll be good. Make sure you get those edges. Then fill up the next one. It looks like I'm gonna have enough for 4 or 5. That was with 4 eggs. Maybe I'd say 4. Looks like 4 max here. If you really get everything out. I'm gonna fill up my last one again. You could stretch this out to 4, I think. So it looks like, no, I think 3. Yeah. Definitely looked like I had a lot more in there than I actually did. I probably should have kept the spatula for this last one. Now, if you want to be fancy, obviously, grab a paper towel, clean up along the edges so it looks nice. Put that down. You're going to put it inside the pan. Just like that. And we're going to go ahead and throw these in the oven and put them in there for, check them after 10, 15 minutes, and then try another 10 minutes. Put them in the middle rack though, so you don't want it right under that heat. Okay, this is another optional ingredient, but obviously strawberries go really well with chocolate. So if you happen to have some strawberries, just cut the tops off and just make really, really thin slices, because I like mine to be just really faint on the top and just kind of light and easy to bite through. So I do as thin as I can make it with my knife pretty much. And it adds a little bit of texture and sweetness on the top. So just go ahead and slice those up. Okay, so I believe the time has come and we are going to pull our cakes out. Be super careful. And I believe they're right where I want them to be. So here it is. Pan's a little hot, so I'm gonna grab a paper towel. Just a little something to put it on right there. Let's go ahead and put that down. So look at those right there. So they're gonna continue to cook for a little bit while I let them cool down. I'm gonna turn that off. But the reason why I like to take them out when they're a little hot is because they still have a little bit of a creamier texture. So you'll see what I mean when we finally cut into it. But we're gonna let that sit for a second and then we'll do one up and we shall see how it turns out. Okay, so we're all done. You can see they shrink a little bit. It's just how it goes. They're cooled down. I like to eat them when they're still a little hot. Obviously, you can cool it all the way down, but I want to show you what it looks like going inside of it. Look at that. It's like a nice, soft, moist pudding. Now, this could have been baked a tiny bit more, maybe another 3 or 4 minutes, but the way it is, it's like a nice, soft, warm pudding, simple, delicious, and definitely worth checking out if you've never made it. These little chocolate pudding cup Nutella cakes, oh my God, so delicious. And if you want, of course, I almost forgot, a few strawberries like that, make a delicious bite.